Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Well, we have Jon Ahlbum here in the studio, and we are going to have him on Facebook Live if everything works well. So we're certainly going to talk to Jon, and we'll see what happens with Facebook. So, Jon, welcome back to our show.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, and of course, you've been doing this with us for a long time, and I've been one of your most famous, I'm just kidding, but person who really enjoys being with United American. And people ask me, and I've gotten a lot of my friends to do this, I think. Suzanne Epps got on. A lot of people who always ask me why I do this. And I just say, why I'm with you is because it's really been a no-problem insurance company.
It has been, yes. That's the greatest part about it. That's where we get referrals from. We get doctors' offices that refer us because they say, hey, they pay us right away. Use them.
And so that's why the doctors want to use you. What do you think makes the difference in your your company compared to other companies? Well,
I think speaking as an agent and working up, most of the successful agents in United American have the same philosophy. The customer service comes first. Anything you can do to help your policyholders, you want to do it. And that's filtered. Our feelings are shared with the home office so that the home office tries to provide the best possible service that they can too. And if we all work together doing it, then it's just a harmonious relationship for everybody.
So it isn't the founders of United American that make the difference. I mean, they would do it. It's one thing for their sales executives and their companies to want it, but they have to believe in it also. They have to appreciate it, right?
Mm-hmm. And going way back to some of the original management, that's the message that they put out to people. And the agents who've stayed with the company or the agencies all have that same feeling. And that's, to me, that's the only way you do business, is to give service.
Right, but it's such a mixed bag today. I've not been in an HMO, but you just look at people and what someone has to go through when they're in an HMO, how to deal with all the variations.
Yes. Yeah, the referrals, and all of a sudden the doctor they're referred to is no longer in the HMO, so they can't even. Finally, the referral comes through, and they can't go see him because he either terminated his contract or his contract got terminated with him or something.
Then they have to find someone else.
Right.
Well, I'm sure the HMOs are very, very good for many people. There are certain people that just couldn't afford a supplemental, and yet sometimes they have to they have to really know how important it is. See, then they can take away from something else they're buying and put it into this.
Right. To me, the one thing that's you can't put a price tag on is your health. You can put a price tag on dinner, you can put a price tag on a car, on a clothing or something like that, but you can't put a price tag on your health. And you can't limit what you could have, the care that you could possibly get if you need the care.
Right. Let's just start as though you meet someone and they come to you, they call from your advertising, or they meet you and they say, okay, I'm interested in I'm now turning 65 and I have to get insurance. Why don't you give me what you would say to somebody and all the things they're going to start being bombarded with information from all other companies, right?
Well, the first thing I ask them is what they have now, whether they're on a group plan. Are you going to retire? If you're only turning 65 but you're going to stay working, you can keep your group plan and defer going on Part B of Medicare until you actually leave the group. But if you're paying a lot of money for this group plan, then let's sit down and compare pricing and see if maybe you'd save money with Medicare, because certainly with Medicare and a supplement, you don't have a gigantic deductible that you have with some of the group plans, and you have the freedom of choice to go anywhere you want. There's no networks, there's no geographic limit. So if you wanted something where either you travel or you might want to go see a physician in another state, you can do it with a supplement.
So you just said something very important. So people who have the United American, anywhere they are, they can use the insurance?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not true with an HMO necessarily.
An HMO is, most of them are by county nowadays.
So what do you do? If you have an HMO, what do you do when you're somewhere else?
Well, if it's a life-threatening emergency, they have to treat you for up to a certain point. But you can't voluntarily, say somebody was diagnosed with cancer. The major cancer hospitals in the country don't accept HMOs or PPOs.
Ah.
And like MD Anderson and Sloan Kettering and those. But with a supplement, you could catch a flight to Houston and go to MD Anderson, or you go to New York, or go to Boston, or go somewhere for real treatment.
I think what you've just said, and it's not funny, I guess because I've never been sick out of Florida and I've never had to use it. I really wasn't aware of that, John. I think that's a very important issue.
It is. It really is. I mean, and that's one of the things that I tell people is if you want to go see a doctor in Timbuktu, you can go with with Medicare and a supplement. With a HMO or PPO, you can't.
See, now, to me, that's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And
but some people don't realize it, and some people, I'm not sick now, so I don't need it. Well, if you wait till you're sick, then it's too late.
Of course. So. That's like the home health, having long-term health care insurance. They never thought they needed it,
right.
And now they're really up what.
Yes.
Yeah, it's that's true. But what you just said is absolutely fabulous, and I hope that your son, who is of course in your office with you, and anybody else you hire, understand that that's probably the highest form of why someone should buy it.
They do, and that's first and foremost in their mind and their presentation is the.
So I'm still unclear about something. So let's say you have an HMO, and you wind up in Kansas. Something happens at a hotel, and they find you a doctor, and you go to a doctor. They're going to ask you for your insurance. Mm-hmm. Let's say you don't have a United American. What do you do? Does your HMO have an affiliation in another place?
Yeah, they have just the nature of the beast. They have to give emergency service, emergency care.
But is that emergency if you have a flu? Is that when you're saying emergency, you don't mean, someone fell out
Somebody would probably see you and prescribe something, but that's as far as it would go.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, this is an amazing conversation because I've had you on our radio show for many years, and I don't know if I've never asked you or it just never came up, but this is phenomenal, and it's worth every cent then that you have to pay. Now, when I first started with you, my prices have stayed the same. If someone else comes with you, are they higher now?
They might be a little bit higher, although we did have a rate decrease a year ago where everybody's went down. And they've stayed, the United Americans rates have been some of the best in the country as far as stability, staying very, very level.
It might be because people can go to any doctor they want, and that way they're taking care of things so much better that they're not now using the insurance at these high rates.
Well, we also have a lot of healthy people who go with the United American because they know the quality of the company, and they like the service, and they like the potential if something happens. So they don't have a lot of claims. So with low claim ratios, then the rates stay down.
Yeah, that is true. So do you ever have a convention where everybody from United American that you all meet across the country?
Uh-huh.
You do.
We have an annual sales convention or sales meeting or whatever they want to call it, but it is a convention.
And what's that like? I mean, do most people stay like you have with United American when they're a broker?
There's a certain number who've been there. My friend Mike Lamar has been there longer than I have. Agents and agencies come and go, but everybody, I'll see people at a convention that I haven't even talked to in years, and all of a sudden they just start writing business again and qualify for the convention.
Okay. So, I was just looking at your ad, and in your little bullets, I don't see where it says, maybe I'm missing it, where you can go anywhere with this. It says, no restrictions on doctors or hospitals, right?
Right.
But does that mean anywhere?
Mm-hmm. And those ads, an ad like I can run in Boomer Times has to be
approved
by the company and approved by the states.
Oh, really? I see. So you have to be careful. They're not going to let you just
I use the ads that the home office provides.
Right.
And they're all pre-approved. And,
I see.
And some of them don't say the things that I'd like to say.
But you do say when you get a call.
Explicit. Yes.
Yeah, but you do say when you get a call. And you know that must be the very highest priority of what we just talked about. So since you've been with them for how many years?
26.
26 years, a long time. And are people allowed to sell other insurance besides United American?
Oh, sure.
Oh, they are?
Mm-hmm.
But you're an exclusive seller of this, aren't you?
I choose to sell strictly United American.
Oh, so you're different. So, they must love you. They must love you. So you decided to go with the best and stick with that and not carry anything else.
Right. It's just nothing compared as far as service, as far as anything else. It's the only company that I've ever been involved in that has a dedicated division just for agent service. So if an agent or an agency calls, there's a dedicated number and a dedicated team of people that we call, and they will get our questions answered and help us if we have a client that needs help or something like that. And they don't talk to the general public. They just work with agents and get the agents so that the agents can give the best service possible to the client.
And is that unusual?
It's very unusual. I think United American is the only company I've ever seen that has a dedicated agency service.
So you see, that's why. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, we're talking about a lot of good stuff here today, I think, because it's that's what makes a company good. If you don't have happy employees or happy organizations that work with you, it's not a very good company.
That's right.
And that sounds like that's what you've done.
That's right. And it's loyalty is a two-sided, it's on both sides of the street. The agent's loyal and the company's loyalty. And if you're loyal to each other, then it's a great situation.
Yeah, I was thinking when you said that anyone in the insurance business could carry everything, I thought of guys where a person's arm with all the watches on, and you decide which one you want to sell.
Like on one of those streets in New York or something.
Right. And I was thinking, so there are insurance brokers who decide, you call them, they decide which one, I guess, sometimes based on how much commission they're going to make, I'm sure, but hopefully not. Hopefully they're doing the right thing for the person. But they then can sell your product as well as others.
Exactly.
See, this is a good education for me this morning to learn about all this. I was not aware of that. I always thought that United American was only that someone like Jon Ahlbum and some of your other associates could sell it, but not that they could sell everything.
Yeah, it's not. You have two kinds of setups with insurance, and you have what they call a captive situation, and with that you can only sell whoever you're captive with. Most of those companies have gone away, or the situation has gone away in most cases, so that most agents are independent agents now, and they can sell with multiple companies if they choose to.
Right. But I can see why I think it's very beneficial. But you have to have a good established business, I guess, because maybe you think you're going to lose business if not everybody wants to have a supplement insurance.
And I believe in educating and putting the right policy in front of the person, what's going to work best for them. There are other agents who just want to go out and no matter what, sell. Yeah. So if maybe it isn't the right one, but it's the right price, so let's, and I don't believe in doing that. No. I want them to have what is going to do the best possible job for them.
Yeah. Well, you're really, when people buy insurance from you, I think it's like a life insurance policy almost. I mean, they're going to just be with you for their life.
Right.
As long as, because let's face it, people are going to get sick and they're going to need what you have. And I have to go back to my wonderful husband who had these knee surgeries and the hip surgeries, and they were all successful, but I don't remember our paying any extra money out. Is that possible?
Yep, I don't think you ever did pay extra money out.
And you know what, those cost a lot of money.
Yes.
Of course, but we've been with you for so many years too. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I don't know how we even I don't know how we found a United American. He found it many years ago. I think he's the one that started on it.
He was ahead of you.
He was, and it was with someone else, as a matter of fact. That's how he found it. And I don't know if we ever got him to change you, because I wanted him to do that. Did he ever do that?
No, we couldn't, because the agent's protected too. So that's
see. I said, oh my goodness, that's so bad. I know. I wanted you to.
But I did anything I could to help him anyway.
I know you did. You always did. And so he found that by himself. But that's what then led me to doing it, because it was such a good company. Where are they located?
McKinney, Texas.
McKinney, Texas. That's interesting. That's are the other insurance companies there too? Is that like an insurance?
No, they used to be in Dallas. They started in Dallas and moved to McKinney when McKinney was first being developed. And now I think there's other insurance companies in the area, but not in McKinney itself that I'm aware of.
Right. So this is an interesting question. I know we have an attorney who helps people who've had bad things happen to them, in nursing homes and places like that. I would think that would be helpful for your company, only because there might be things that were not right and that your company had to pay for things that they find was not true. Is that possible? How do you know when someone reports something that really isn't true?
The way the system works is at first it goes to Medicare. And Medicare either approves or disapproves it. And say they approve it, then Medicare says, this is what it's worth. And they pay out their 80% portion, or whatever percentage portion they're going to pay. And then they send the balance on to the secondary company, in this case, United American.
Yeah.
And so long as it's approved by Medicare, then United American pays a balance.
I see. I will tell you something interesting. I started with a new doctor, a person, and she seemed very nice and all, and I did a lot of things, and then at the very end, they wanted me to pay $12. I said, I've never had to pay anything. Well, there's an extra $12 fee, and I had to write a check for $12 for something.
Well, did he explain why?
Well, it showed what it was accepted by Medicare, what was accepted by United American, and there was a balance left. And so I don't know if maybe they don't pursue it or something. Or no, I know it. Sometimes the doctor just accepts it, and I don't think she accepted it.
Generally, if a doctor accepts Medicare assignment, then they have to take what Medicare says is worth, and they can't charge extra.
So then I'm going to have to look at that. It was only $12, so I didn't bother with it, but I was not very happy about that. I said, because this is a new person, and I said, why? I mean, it was just the idea. And so she may be, I have to look at that.
I would check on it, yes.
I will. I mean, tell you.
Send me a copy of the bill
I think
if you
I
want
will
to.
and see why that happened.
Right.
But I asked when I was there, I said, well, they're not paying that, so we get it. I said, okay. Well, I have a few problems with her anyway. I don't know if I'm going to say wasn't that the point. Wasn't really the point, but it was strange because I haven't, had to pay for anything. But it's okay. Just getting back to you, what I do want to say is, everybody listening, we need to give you a phone number because you need to call them. It's 954-970-4760. Get your pencils out. This is Pencil Talk Radio. We're talking about United American's ProCare Medicine Supplement Insurance Policies. A smart choice. And take it from me. I mean, although we have other advertisers, as far as I'm concerned, for me, this supplement has just been a lifesaver. It's 954-970-4760. It's called United American Insurance Company. Just look them up and you'll see. But the nice thing is that Jon Ahlbum has his own insurance group. And as he's been saying, and you've been listening to the show and other shows, he really dedicates all his business to United American because he believes in it so much. So I guess they call you a dedicated insurance company to them.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that they'll do anything to help you. So tell me, though, in the time we have left, what problems are out there with supplemental insurance? Because there's some other supplemental insurance companies.
Well, you've got various problems. You've got some that, what I like about United American, really one of the biggest pluses, I think, is that you have your agent is with you forever, or should be with you forever, so long as the agent stays in the business and stays, either the agent or the general agent. There are other companies where you might meet with an agent and do an application with an agent, but as soon as the application is approved, then you start working, if you have questions, with somebody in the home office or somebody in a foreign country or who knows what, a customer service representative. And you lose the personal touch with the agent. That's one of the things I don't like. The other is you have some companies that spend a lot of money on wasteful marketing, wasteful this, wasteful that, and all that has to equate to cost, so then their rates start going up. Even though the rate should be based on claims, they somehow work it so that the
marketing
get their marketing expenses back too. So you're paying for their marketing if you're paying your premiums for them. So
that's a good point. So those are a couple of things that for you.
Mm-hmm. And people will say to me, "I've never heard of United American. How come?" I said, "Because we don't waste billions of dollars a year on junk mail."
Right, that's true. Or advertising on television at all hours of the night and all that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see a lot of that. But, well, that's a good point that you bring up because people really do look at supplements. I'm sure, knowing how people make a phone call and say, first thing is, so what's your rate? Right? That's the first thing they want to know. That's what they do when they're trying to get a home health agency. Tell me how much it's going to cost me. Right. They don't even want to know anything else, right? So you can't just tell them a rate. It depends on a lot of things, doesn't it?
It does. It depends on their age, where they live, factors like that. Do they smoke, not smoke? But to me, the premium isn't the most important part. It's who you're with and how steady that premium is. If a company has a rate increase every year, you're not saving anything. But if a company has a very low or almost zero rate increase history, then it's great.
Yeah. So, those are the kinds of questions that should really be asked. So just don't call somebody. Just don't call somebody and ask, I don't care what you're dealing, what's the cost of the service?
Right.
First find out about the company,
And the products.
Yeah, the company and the products, and then you can compare prices if someone else will even tell you over the phone what it is, because it's a lot more than that. And, of course, when you go and you talk to people, you're not charging them a fee. I mean, you're just talking. It's just a consultation, right?
Exactly, for sure.
So you can spend a lot of time, which I'm sure you do with people on phones.
Do a lot of phone, a little more internet now than we used to have. That's growing. But still, I still love the face-to-face over the kitchen table where you can explain, show them, leave them paperwork if they need it to read for later. A lot of times when you're sitting there, they'll make the decision anyway and just decide they want to go ahead and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. I think once they would meet you and talk to you, they would want to do it, unless they still want to go and talk to other people and they haven't spoken to anyone else, and then they,
Right.
they'll have to see, but their wife's brother-in-law or someone like that, that happens too. But it's really such a good company, and I am so glad that people are calling you. And the one lady that I did refer, she asked me, she said something about United American. Don't they send a quarterly statement or something? Said no, they just send you a statement when you have a service.
Right.
I guess she was expecting something else. I said no, they don't do that. So, and that's what you're saying, that they don't have to spend a lot of time doing that. You don't have to promote something.
Exactly.
But you can just be who you are. And by the way, the card that you have, this used to annoy me terribly when I would call a doctor's office for an appointment. Before, maybe they say hello, good morning, and then the next word out of their mouth is, what kind of insurance do you have? Now, that's a new approach.
That's because of all of the HMOs and PPOs and the managed care plans. They have a list in front of them that has all the different companies that they're contracted with, but it doesn't take in. I mean, they're set up with Medicare. So the question you have is, do you accept Medicare? And if you accept Medicare, then you accept us because we're secondary to Medicare.
See, we'll have to talk about that some other time, because, boy, first of all, I hate the office I go in with the glass door to begin with. That's shut. And then when they speak to you, it's, well, let me have all your insurance, and it's not even
Right.
friendly, isn't it? So anyway.
Oh, I know. It's so mechanical.
It's
it
very
hurts.
wrong, and I can hardly not say, because I do a lot of sensitivity training, and that's one of the things we don't do. Okay, John Ahlbum, it's great. Let me give your phone number again. It's 954-970-4760. Another very good show. Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you
you
Anita.
being here.
Thank you so much.